was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said you
I truly need a haircut. Oh my god. That's thick hair. Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the different factors that make or break a photo. Put into different words, the standards of a good photo. Now I know that you're wondering why you should listen to me, a 14-year-old kid who has only been into photography and videography for only 2 years. That's why I'm going to just cut to the chase so you wouldn't have to listen to me for the rest of the video. The standard of a good photo is that there are no standards. Surprise! Photography is a form of art, and what makes art special and unique are the creativity and out-of-the-box thinking of the artists. In this case of photography, the photographers. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sometimes the most unusual composition or lighting technique can be the best one. All in all, there are no standards that you must follow to create a good photo. But wait up, don't quit this video yet, because if you look down, you can still see that there are a couple minutes left. No, there are no standards to create good photos, but there are different rules or suggestions that can help you improve how your photos look. If you're interested, stick around. The first way that can help you take better photos is composition. Again, these are only different ways that can help you take better photos. You don't have to follow them every time, but for the most part, if you follow these rules, it would give you the ability to take better photos. Okay, composition. I think this must be one of the most repeated photography rules on the internet, but it makes sense. The wrong composition or absolutely no attention to composition can make your photos look awful. So how do you know what the right composition is? Again, there are no right ones, but there are suitable ones. Does that make sense? For the most part, in portraits and landscapes, you would usually use the rule of thirds. Try to imagine a grid on your viewfinder, but nowadays most viewfinders have built-in grid. The grid should be 2 lines horizontal and 2 lines vertical, splitting the image into 9 parts with 4 intersections. In portraits, you should frame your subject in a way that the subject is on one of those intersections or dead center or on one of those lines. But how do you know which intersection to use? Well, usually you would use the pose and the eyes as the reference. You should leave space on the side that the eyes are looking at. For example, if the eyes are looking to the right, you should frame the subject to the left so that there is space on the right-hand side. Of course, there are exceptions when you can do the exact opposite. Maybe because there are leading lines, or the space is not interesting, or maybe it's a completely new concept of yours. If the subject is looking and his or her body is facing directly towards the camera, then you should frame your subject dead center. In the case of landscape, you should also use the intersections or the lines to your advantage. If you're shooting a mountain or a cliff, you should put it on one of the vertical lines and leave space on the side that the mountain or the cliff is facing towards. If you're shooting a wide scenic shot, put the horizon on one of the horizontal lines. The second way that can help you take better photos is the lighting. Whether you're shooting architectures, portraits, landscapes, or even real estate, lighting is absolutely crucial. It's not just about having enough light, it's also where the light comes from, at what angle, and how it makes the subjects or the scenes look. If you're shooting indoor, maybe portraits or interiors, you should use artificial lights to have better control. But sometimes the best light is from the sun. In the case of landscapes, you should shoot at sunrise or sunset, since at those times the light comes from an angle which makes everything flattering. The third and final way that will help you take better photos is controlling your background and foreground. I think this is the most overlooked aspect of taking photos by beginners, including me from 2 years ago. The first part is controlling your background. You don't want a tree to look like it comes out from your subject's head. You don't want that. You also don't want it to look like the subject ate a seed and then the seed crawled up to your brain and then the tree came out of the brain. You don't want any of that. I can't stress this enough, but you must be mindful. Moving on to the foreground. Of course, you don't want anything to block your frame that would just give you a black image. About the foreground, you can either have foreground or don't have it at all. Personally, I think that if you can implement foregrounds into your photos and be mindful about it, foreground could make your photos look much better since it adds depth, which is huge in photography and videography. Alright, that was the quote-unquote standards of a good photo. It was more like the different things you can do to take better photos. It's kind of like that. Again, these are only different ways that can help you take better photos. You don't have to follow them every time, but for the most part, you should. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment. So I did my best to make you feel wanted. But what about what I want? What about what I want? And what I wanted was to crash with my